wide variety of soups and sandwiches. The bakery has fresh baked bread daily, along with cakes and more. And the Pizza and Wine Bar features gourmet pizzas that pair perfectly with their 30-plus wines by the glass. Located off Victoria and Grand, more at cafelatte.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, and in the nighttime hours, 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle. It is the Matt McNeil Show on your Wednesday. We're hoping Jeff McGillicuddy Stein is going to be joining us here in just about 30 minutes from right now. A quick note for you, Patrick. During the commercial break, and for the people in Chicago and Seattle, you probably didn't hear this, you do an ad there for Zero Res, which cleans our carpets. And what was it about stains we didn't think were going to get out? Did they get all that blood out of the floor over there?
Indeed, they did in our torture dungeon that we have.
Well, did they get the stains around the splash zone at the grotto we have there? I mean, we get the crew in here, it gets wild. They get all that up there?
I think they got through that. And they didn't report us to the authorities either.
Oh, well, we have our ways to make problems go away or be accommodated. I don't know. Needless to say, it does paint an interesting picture of the station here. But hey, the carpets do look fantastic. I will say that right now. It is sugar. It's a Christmas cookie season. We have a list of the most popular cookies per each state. I'll start with our friends down in Chicago. The Christmas kitchen sink. So I'm presuming this is a cookie that's just basically got everything in it. Nuts, chocolate, berries, dried fruit, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Yeah, okay. Washington State, Seattle, my friends out there, the Snowball, an underrated cookie, a very underrated cookie. I like Snowball, man. Those are delicious. In Minnesota, it's the Christmas wreath, which I'm presuming is not like the cake, but just like, I've seen a few of these. They get the Christmas wreath cookie that has, sometimes they'll put little green and red on there, little berries, decorations. Those are nice.
Yeah.
Another reason to hate Florida, the number one holiday cookie down there is oatmeal raisin.
Oh, no.
What is wrong with you? I mean, okay, there are plenty of states that have a kind of very traditional cookies. I mean, Vermont, Idaho, Wisconsin, Alaska, they all do just a traditional sugar cookie. Chocolate chip in Montana, shortbread in Indiana. Nice job, Indiana. Danish butter in Arkansas. Well done. But here you go, and they're oatmeal raisin. Dear gosh, I mean, I guess that must calm down all the meth use. I mean, sorry.
Oh, maybe it does. But I think the fact that you just said nice job, Indiana, cost us all of our Chicago listeners.
Sorry. Okay, occasionally the blind pig finds a truffle now and then, and they did find shortbread, and I'm a big fan of that. No, I'm convinced of it. Now that I've said this, the oatmeal raisin must soak up all the bath salts and meth roaming around the fumes of Florida, and that's happy holidays. Hey, you elected DeSantis. Yeah, you're a bunch of fools. Just a bunch of fools down there. I don't have any problem. I got to believe Chicago and Seattle, they're on my side on this one. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Anyone else that's got a good one? I gotta get some Christmas kitchen sink cookies from Chicago. That sounds good. Gingerbread out in Oregon. I'm not a big fan of gingerbread outside of the holidays. I think it is quite tasty there. The New Orleans guy has got the bûche de Noël. Bûche de Noël. I'm not French. B-U-C-H-E de Noël. I'm going to guess it's a French Christmas cookie. And same with California for some reason. The Italian Christmas cookies in New Mexico are popular. Italian Christmas, as you pick, Italian Christmas runs the East Coast pretty good there. Pennsylvania, New York, Jersey, Rhode Island. Yeah, they're all Italian Christmas. I lived in Rhode Island when I was a kid. Good Christmas cookies around the holiday season. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. So I'm going to start off today with a lot of heavy religious content, and I apologize if it is something that upsets you. Trust me, I'll get to Matt Gaetz here in a sec. But I want to start off with some things. Now, my disclaimer: I know it's the holiday season. I am not here to convert anyone. I am not here to basically force anyone into anything. You do or don't do whatever it is you do or do not want to do. Okay, that is the great part about America. You do what you're happy with. I'm just going to talk about this because as a Christian, it infuriates me to hear Republicans claim to be Christian because they are some of the least Christian human beings on the planet. I'm going to start off with two readings here, if I can, from the book of Matthew. Now, I am a big proponent of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You know, the story of Jesus Christ, the guy that makes all Christians Christian. I don't need Timothy or Romans or Leviticus or any of these. I'll go the story itself where he told us what to do. Matthew 23:37, he said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with your mind. This is a great and first commandment. And a second is like, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commands depend all the laws of the prophets. So there you go. That's pretty good. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Something Republicans, they don't do. What were you saying about the Haitians again? Anyway, Matthew, and this is one I refer to a lot, Matthew 25:34-40. Then the king said to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of your world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, you welcomed me. I was naked, you clothed me. I was sick, you visited me. I was in prison, you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you a drink? And when we when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, naked and clothe you? And when did you see the sick or in prison or visit you? And the king shall answer them, truly, I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these and my brothers, you did it to me. So basically, he's telling you, feed the hungry, take care of the sick, all that sort of thing. Yeah, I know if you hear the Republicans who claim I'm the most Christian ever. I say this because Tommy Tuberville today, the dumbest senator this country has ever elected. Dead serious. Tommy Tuberville is a bag of salt. I mean, he is dumb. D-U-M dumb. Tommy Tuberville, and yeah, I know I misspelled it, but that's he's so dumb, he makes you misspell things. It's kind of like a vapors. Anyway, Tommy Tuberville said that we should immediately be cutting food stamps to the hungry. Merry Christmas, everybody. I bring this up because you don't understand the Christian story of Jesus and his birth and say, I love Jesus, I love him, and then turn around and say, we're going to deport people. Why? Some Catholic evangelical leaders say they will unpack the Holy Family's immigration plight. Oh, that's right. We forgot about that in the old Bible. During Christmas services to offer hope for immigrants worried about what's coming from President-elect Trump. Trump and his incoming administration are promising immigration raids even inside churches as part of their mass deportation plan, and church leaders say that that's already prompting some immigrants to go into hiding. Undocumented immigrants appear to be taking Trump at his word. You should. Some have left the country, stopped going to work, or disappeared, said Alan Sanchez, the New Mexico Conference of Catholic Bishops executive director. Others have emotionally asking evangelical pastors for protection. Gabriel Seguero, president and co-founder of the National Latino Evangelical Coalition, stated, what I'm telling people in this Advent of Christmas is Jesus understands you because he lived your reality. Context. In the Gospel of Matthew, Joseph is told through a dream that King Herod is sending his soldiers to kill the baby Jesus over fears he's the new king of the Jews. Joseph then gathers Mary and Jesus in the dead of night to flee to Egypt, making them refugees who are escaping persecution. They only return to the land of Judea after King Herod has died. Gospel of Luke, Joseph is forced to take a pregnant Mary to Bethlehem to register for the required Roman Empire census. She must give birth to Jesus and place him in a manger because there is no room for them in the inn. The family's situation highlights the humbleness and poverty of the Holy Family, who are forced to travel by order of the government. Latino evangelical leaders are telling attendees at Christmas services to remember that Jesus and his family were forced to migrate to Egypt for reasons that they could not control. Now, these are not mysterious stories. No, not at all. No. The whole thing with the Gospel of Matthew and Luke here these stories are known, which is a hoot when you look at the Republican Party and they're round them up and kick them out. And then they turn around and keep Christ in Christmas. Christ is the right word, dudes. All right. You're all doing it wrong. You're all doing it wrong. And you know what? The truth is, this is the true evilness of Republicans. They're just hoping their followers are either A, stupid and don't know what the Bible says, or are like them who will throw out biblical teachings when it's inconvenient for their political narrative. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. A direct teaching in the Gospel of Matthew. I was hungry, you gave me food. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, you welcomed me. Also the Gospel of Matthew. Those are not, it's not like they're the secret texts. No, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You know, when every one of these smug jackass Republicans sit there and say, I'm the most Christian-y Christian ever, the Bible is my guidepost, they are ignoring their Bibles. They are. They are. Now, once again, I am not here to proselytize. I am not here to convert. I am not here to do any of that stuff. My job is to point out hypocrisy. And nothing steams deeply like the hypocrisy of Republicans at Christmas time. Because they don't care about feeding the hungry. They do not care about taking care of the sick. And they sure as heck do not want to welcome in strangers from strange lands, even though Jesus himself was a refugee into Egypt to save him, to not be killed by Herod. Little books they want to forget. This is not about Christianity. These people are fueled by racism, and even if they aren't racist, they're tolerant of it and are willing to throw away large portions of the Bible to make their political aspirations real as they claim to be Christians. I see you and I call you all out. You guys suck at being Christian. I mean, suck. You are the worst Christians. You are. Someone's got to tell you. I know. Did you guys rip out Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? I know Matthew's not in your Bibles. Oh, Lordy, Lordy. I know that you would completely and totally ignore the Gospel of Matthew. Well, sometimes countries have rules. That's not what you guys say. You guys say the Bible is my guidepost. Speaker Johnson talks about his love of religion. Funny, his Bible is missing half of the pages. Heck, not half, more than that. Just a lesson. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Thank you to everyone who supported AM 950 over the past 5 years. Your contributions have helped us remain one of the few progressive talk stations in the entire country. To show our appreciation, we're offering 2 special gifts this year. First, the official 2025 AM 950 radio calendar. It features photos from Matt McNeil's adventures over the past year and key dates in progressive and AM 950 history. Second is a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book, The Hidden History of the American Dream, The Demise of the Middle Class and How to Rescue Our Future. Here's how you can claim these gifts as a thank you for becoming an AM 950 member. For the AM 950 calendar, make a recurring monthly donation of at least $10 or a one-time donation of at least $30. For both the calendar and the signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book, donate at least $25 per month or a one-time gift of at least $100. Visit am950radio.com to become a member today and receive your thank you gifts. Thanks for supporting independent progressive media with AM 950.
Hey, it's Patrick. Is your home ready for the holidays? 'Tis the season to be jolly, and nothing makes me jollier than a clean home. With the holidays right around the corner, it's time to get ready for friends and family, and what better way to do that than with my friends at Zero Res? If you've never had Zero Res over at your home, take it from us. Zero Res was just out at the station to clean our carpets this past month. They're great to work with. Our carpets look great, and they even got some spots out that we didn't think would come out. They were on-time, professional, and we loved working with them, and the station looks great. So if you're looking for help getting your home into holiday shape, give our friends at Zero Res a call at 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com. This month, get 3-room Zero Resified starting at just $129 and take $75 off of an air duct cleaning. That's ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 952-ZERO-RES and ask for the AM 950 special. The holidays are coming soon, so don't wait and book now.
Connections Radio Show is all about tapping into our hardwired hunger to connect. We examine meaningful connections to ourselves, our community, and the world around us. By opening the door to innovative insights by a wide variety of interesting guests, we'll make the connections to something bigger than ourselves. Join me, Lori Fitz, your host of Connections Radio Show, and together we'll make the connections. Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Holiday shopping is easy with the Park Tavern. From now until December 31st, stop into the Park Tavern and buy a $100 gift card. You'll receive a $25 Park Tavern gift card for free. You heard that right. Buy a $100 Park Tavern gift card. You'll receive a $25 gift card for free. The best part is you get to decide which gift card you keep and which gift card you gift. The Park Tavern is open regular hours throughout the holiday season, offering great food and family fun. On Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park, the holidays are just better with the Park Tavern. It is the Matt McNeil Show. Oh, I promised you. I promised you that I would get to Matt Gaetz because he is, to say he is sweating, well, I mean, you can see it. I mean, his forehead's the size of Rushmore, for God's sakes. You can see it from here. Sorry. I can tell I'm getting towards the end of the holiday season and get a little chippy. Did I just have Splash Zone at the Grotto in with a religious Latin? Okay, yeah, I'm a little punchy here, okay? Anyway, Johnny Forehead, a.k.a. Matt Gaetz, he is sweating bricks right now because CNN is reporting that the committee held the committee that basically was refusing to release the investigation. They had a super secret vote. And they have now supported releasing the report into Gaetz, who's faced allegations of drug use and paying a 17-year-old girl for sex. The vote, which has not previously been reported, amounts to a stark reversal from the panel after it voted against along party lines in late November to not release the reports of the investigation. The decision to release the report suggests that some Republicans ultimately decided to side with Democrats on the matter, and it's unclear if the committee will once again change course now that it is voted. I will say this, it must be horrific. It's got to be horrific, this report. And the reason why is, and this is why Republicans are bailing, is they know this is eventually going to come on out. I actually wonder did a Democrat on the committee say, I'm going to release this one way or the other. I'm going to release this one way or the other. You guys do not want to be on the side of this report. So we'll have a secret vote. Let's put it out there. I'm wondering if that happened. The decision to release the report suggests that some Republicans ultimately decided to side with the Democrats on the matter. Gaetz had initially been President-elect Donald Trump's choice to serve as Attorney General. He withdrew within days of the nomination after it became clear they would not get enough votes in the Republican-controlled Senate to get confirmed. I will say this, if this is this bad as it sounds like it is, I wonder how much this will torpedo other nominees. Because if Gaetz was nominated and this was hanging over his head, and do not for one second not think that all the Republicans knew exactly what was in this report. They knew what was in this report. Trump knows what's in this report. I guarantee you this report has been filtered around, being handed around in certain circles. And so they all knew what was in this report. And they basically they still put him forward. I wonder how much that's going to torpedo his ability to get other nominees put into place. So we're about to go down. Speaking of bath salts and meth from Florida, Matt Gaetz is trying to get out in front of this right now, and it is leading to some really interesting questions. Here it is. This is his so far his excuse. In my single days, I often sent funds to women I dated, even some I never dated, but who asked, he wrote. Okay. I dated several of these women for years. I never had sexual contact with someone under 18. Any claim that I would be destroyed in court, which is why no such claim was ever made in court. My 30s were an era of working very hard and playing hard too. Yee. You know, what is it? You're using the full gas station window wiper cleaner to get that forehead clean. You know what? In the sweat. You need a windshield wiper blade for a minivan to get that forehead clear of sweat. Anyway, Gaetz added that it is embarrassing, though not criminal. Oh, God. That I probably partied, womanized, drank, and smoked more than I should have earlier in life, and insisted that I live a different life now. He then added, the Biden-Garland DOJ spent years reviewing allegations that I committed various crimes, he argued. I was charged with nothing, fully exonerated. Oh, we're about to find out. Not even a campaign finance violation, and the people investigating me hated me. No, I hate you. I mean, I think most of the country hates your guts. You're a horrible human being. I love when you're playing the victim and you're like, they all hated me. Yeah, we all did. Yeah, no one likes you. You're a horrible human being. Yeah, all right. Then the very witnesses the DOJ deemed not credible were assembled by House Ethics to repeat their claims absent any cross-examination or challenge from me or my attorneys. I had no chance to ever confront any accusers. I have never been charged. I've never been sued. He knows what's coming out. He is desperately trying to get in front of this. But it was one line that particularly set a lot of people off, and I think you heard it too. Former Representative Gaetz Wednesday took a swipe at the Health Ethics Committee for secretly voting to release their report into his conduct. But one section of his defense in particular left many observers scratching their heads. While denying he paid money to any underage girl in exchange for sex last decade, Gaetz did acknowledge that in my single days, I often sent funds to women I dated, even some I never dated, but who asked? Okay. So, okay, there are a lot of, one of the modern day business models in our society is the online social media related TNA models. Some of them are clothed, some of them not so much, some of them OnlyFans ahoy. But they do this because they make some coin from dudes who send them money. And some of them make an insane amount of money. I mean, what was it? One of them came on out and admitted she was making something like $40 million or $50 million a year in just money being sent to her by people for her to continue with the cheeky photos. And first of all, I don't have a problem with this. I mean, if this is how you want to make your money and you're fine with it and no one's forcing you and this is what you want to do, knock yourself out. That's the world, dude. If you're able to find your niche, do it. Knock yourself out. Be proud of yourself. And everyone, I hope everyone has, body positivity. That's the whole thing I have to say about that. But this is a lot of going on one of those things. What he seems to be implying is that in the days before the social media models, he was paying people left and right. I often sent funds to women I dated, even some I never dated, but who asked? Okay. So is this what this is clearly what his excuse is going to be. I didn't pay the 17-year-old for sex, They just asked me for money, and out of the goodness of my heart and the length of my forehead, I gave them a check. Oh, it is going to, our Yuletide fire this year is going to be Matt Gates, because it's going to be roasty toasty when this report comes out. It's time when we come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
I don't know about you, but I feel good.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. Over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Come see the Train Chimp. It's the Matt McNeil Show, 3 to 5 p.m. weekday afternoons, right here on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Dr. Stefano Sinacropia, an orthopedic spine surgeon and wellness evangelist, hosting the brand new Recharging the Human Battery show on AM 950 radio. My co-host Mandy Dickey and I will delve into various health topics ranging from medicine to nutrition to exercise, emerging technologies, and yes, some way out there stuff. Will provide a balanced view of today's landscape, helping listeners navigate its complexities and hoping to change the way you think about your health. Recharging the Human Battery airs Saturdays at 11 a.m.
It's the time of the year where we begin to see the snow fly. If your vehicle needs to get ready for the winter driving ahead, take it in for service at Rudy Luther Toyota. Rudy Luther Toyota's service department is top-notch, no matter if you're looking for routine maintenance or bigger service. They're committed to providing you the care and expert service their loyal customers have come to trust. You can schedule an appointment at rudyluthertoyota.com and make sure to check out their website for the latest service specials. To schedule your service, head to rudyluthertoyota.com. That's rudyluthertoyota.com.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Let Next Chapter Booksellers help you with your holiday shopping. Next Chapter Booksellers has the perfect gift ideas. Books make for easy, thoughtful gifts that are a breeze to wrap and ship. And if you're not sure what book to get, the friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at recommendations for any age and taste. Explore their wide selection of puzzles and games for interactive family fun. And if you're still stumped, then try a Next Chapter Booksellers gift card. That's Next Chapter Booksellers in St. Paul, your destination for easy-to-give gifts.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 23.
Competing at shoots for his employer. The DuPont Powder Company and the Parker Gun
Thanks for
Company.
supporting AM 950. To show our appreciation, we're offering the 2025 AM 950 calendar with Matt McNeil's photos and progressive history. Donate $10 monthly or $30 one time to get it, or include Tom Hartman signed book with $25 monthly or $100 one time. Learn more at am950radio.com.
Association Hall of Fame in 1979. The park toward the north end of Spirit Lake. There's a
Jeff, J-E-F-F, Jeff, J-E-F-F, Jeff, J-E-F-F, Jeff.
Jeff Steins, our national and presidential expert, noted author. You can find his books at your favorite book retailer. The Iowa Business Report, the Iowa Politics Report, come to us from his mothership, KXEL in Cedar Falls, Waterloo. Hello, Jeff.
It's a mother something.
Yeah, it is.
Not real sure what.
Just really quick here, because I got one thing I want to do with you here for a good chunk of the segment today. But your thoughts on the secret vote to release the Gates investigation, because I can tell you right now, without doubt in my mind, I think that they Republicans on that committee did not want that report to eventually come on out. And then the question being, why did you not release it? That's why in secret they voted to get it out there.
I just recorded tomorrow's rant. Some call it a commentary. Usually it's a rant, right? Yep. And it was on this topic. And the way I phrased it was, I don't know how many friends Kevin McCarthy has in Congress.
Yeah.
But I can tell you he has more, at least on the ethics committee, than Matt Gaetz. This is a nail in the coffin for Gates's political career. And it is McCarthy's few buddies who are left who are saying, we got your back on this one for everything that guy did. What it really shows you, even if that's all incorrect, it shows you how little the Republicans want anything to do with Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
I mean, because, and again, just to frame it, it's an ethics committee report on a member of Congress where they might discipline the member of Congress. When the member of Congress resigns, the committee has absolutely no authority, oversight, whatever, and yet they're still going to release the report. I believe I've phrased it as a flaming bag of poop dropped on our doorstep after the last vote is taken of the session, while they run away after ringing the doorbell to go back to their district so they don't have to deal with it. If it's such a great thing, release it now. We got time while you all are reading this god-awful spending bill. No, they're going to wait and release it the moment the last member is at the airport.
10 p.m. Christmas Eve. That's when that one goes out. I actually do.
Is that when the angel gets its wings? Is that okay?
Thanks, Clarence. I will say the other theory is, because you're not wrong, it could be sabotage from his BFF, but I also wonder if did a Democrat say, you know what, I'm going to let you know one way or the other, I'm leaking this. I'm going to get it out there. And if I do that, there's going to be a lot of questions about why you were protecting this guy when you knew what this report said. And that's why I think that's really what happened. I think that they went in and said, okay, let's get it out there. We can wash our hands of it.
It could be that Democrats held it over Republicans' heads, but it's not like it took them much to push them over the edge. No. Because again, he wasn't very well liked, near as we can tell, in the chamber. And the fact that they are rid of him, yes, that takes you off the majority a little bit, but good riddance. Let's help pack your stuff. And this is the way, and this is what I didn't understand. He was nominated to be Attorney General. That was all a bogus deal. I said it before. I still believe it. But then we're hearing, well, he might run for governor someday. What? In what universe? And so this may be the Republicans saying to the Democrats, you're right. Let's a pox on all your houses. Let's just be done. I think he landed a TV show on a cable channel I'd never heard of. I mean, it's not even OAN. I mean, it's kind of like, you've never heard of us yet.
Well, I think if this is as bad as I think it's going to be, not only is his political career clearly is going to be over, but I wonder how many right-wing, will he even show up on Steve Bannon's podcast? If it's as bad as it sounds, there are sometimes you do things where you get basically you're done and you'll find you'll be a lobbyist behind the scenes, but that's about the extent of what you're going to be doing.
Let's assume there are no conclusions in this report. Let's just assume that there are no conclusions. There were no recommendations with regard to sanctions, punishment, whatever. The bottom line, though, is the report is going to have all the allegations in one tidy package. That's a lot of fun right there, right? No longer does Matt McNeil have to go to the interwebs and find all of this stuff again. It'll be right there in one PDF for him.
We could bash on Johnny Forehead all day long, but I want to do something with you here because this is our last visit. You're going to be kind enough to join us on the 30th. We are going to do a full hour with you on the 30th, on Monday the 30th, live as our end of year show. I'm looking forward to that. Nobody
wants that. Can I just roll out there the fact that no one wants that? Yes, we'll do it, but no one is asking for it.
That's the slogan for the show. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants this. But you're going to get it, and that's going to be on January 30th. We'll be live for that one day coming up here. I do want to say though, I'm going to go through some things.
Okay.
I want your, and I'll share after you have your thoughts. I want your thoughts on whether or not it will be killed, or there's just not going to be enough Republicans that are willing to go along this, because the reality of what they're about to do is hitting them. So these are some various things that we have heard Trump and his administration say they want to get rid of. And we're going to find, I want your thoughts on whether they get rid of it. Number one, the post office. Will the post office become privatized and basically cease operating like it does in any capacity like we have it today?
70% yes.
You think it will? I mean, you are in Iowa, and that's a state where, there's a lot of roads where there's 12 houses, for 5 miles. No private company is going to deliver mail to rural America.
That, by the way, is a densely populated neighborhood.
That's
Now, I'm not saying it's a good idea. Okay. You asked what's the chance of it. Here's what I'm seeing more and more in rural developments. And I live in a rural area, but it's a development, a neighborhood. And no, it's not a gated community. The only gate is so that the dog doesn't get out in the back. Okay. But they just added, they took tremendous farm ground and built a bunch of stupid looking houses. I don't know what we're going to eat in the future if we keep doing this, but all right, fine. And they've put the mailbox at the front of the cul-de-sac.
Yes.
So it's like, here's 12 mailboxes in a pod. You might as well put a target on the side so that kids can just knock it over. But the point is, they're getting to that sort of thing. And in many areas of small towns right now with the Postal Service, sorry, we don't deliver. You all have to have post office boxes and come get your mail. So in that respect, is somebody thinking they're going to be the white knight to come in and save this? Oh, I don't know who. I wouldn't do it. But I think that there's enough momentum potentially to make them a sacrificial lamb.
Well, and I know, let's face it, there's a lot of people that want that pension, and they want that money that's in that USP, United States Postal Service pension fund. They want that money. They can't stand the postal union. They want to kill that.
Yeah.
I think but at the end of the day, it's interesting because there are a lot of places where they are still delivering mail in rural areas. And the question of all of a sudden, well, you're not going to have mail delivery, your post office, and frankly, it's not going to be your local town. They're going to find a regional area and say your post office box is now at our regional hub, which is 40 minutes away, and that's where you can get your mail if you pay us $20 a month for your post office box. I think at the end of the day, this is going to hurt most of his supporters more than anyone else.
Oh, probably so. Probably so. But already in a lot of these smaller towns, the post office isn't open that many. The actual counter, the service counter, is not open that many hours a day because the staffing is down to the level that they can't put the mail in boxes. They can't put it on the trucks and, oh, wait, sell you stamps at the counter. And so, like, if I have to go to the post office in my home area, I've got to go to the website and go, okay, when's lunch? When do they take off? It's not like when I'm here, in the big city and I just know that they're open from whatever it is, 8:30 to 5, and I just show up.
Well, and I also will say this, most of the small post offices will cease to exist. No private company is going to pay to keep those buildings open and keep them staffed.
Unless you sell post office boxes within them, just as you mentioned. If they're the regional hub, in essence.
But you need to have, I would say, at least 1,000 people in that community to make that even a thought that might be, because remember, you're thinking about corporate profits. You're not thinking that's your number one priority is corporate profits.
Sure.
And unless you got 1,000 people in your town, you're not going to have a post office in your town. I cannot see that at all.
Well, again, I don't think it's a great idea, but I think I'd give you 70% it happens within the next 2 years.
All right. And this is, you're right. 2 years. Cause in 2 years, things are going to smack back, I think, pretty good.
It's 2 years or bust on all of this, right?
Daylight savings time. It's one of the things which is fascinating about the discussion about getting rid of it is no one seems to have a concise, there's no consensus on whether we go back to standard time year round or go to daylight savings time year round. And that's a little bit of a freaking problem.
I mean, they have a hard time remembering spring forward and fall back.
Yes.
And so therefore we need to get rid of this. Well, what's the alternative? It's probably 50-50 of people who want to just, I don't necessarily like it, but here's what I also don't like. I don't like going to work at 8:30 in the morning in the dark.
Yeah.
And
that will be the case. And that will be the case. If it stays daylight savings time, come December, it will be, 8:45, 9 o'clock. Indianapolis, I think the sun will rise at 9:10 in the morning.
Well, and I think isn't Indianapolis half of it's in Eastern time, half's in Central. It's somebody I saw it was probably on the socials, because that's what I do, is troll social media all day. I think they were saying you're going to need a lot more time zones if you do this. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like we need that aggravation.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I think the sun's setting right now, right? It's a 3:45. Maybe it's just cloudy, but of all the things to worry about,
well, I get news.
Not on my list.
Do you know the Eastern time zone borders Minnesota? Did you know that? The Canadian, if you go across the border in Canada up on the northeast side, that's the Eastern time zone before you get to Thunder Bay up there. So that will be it'll be 10 a.m. I mean, they're up in Thunder Bay as well. It's like 10:30 in the morning. The sun's gonna that's just them anyway, but they're out of the country. But if you're on Grand Marais, right on the Minnesota side of that, it's gonna be 10 o'clock in the morning before the sun rises.
Now, don't talk smack about the 51st state.
Oh God, yeah. He's really is Luxembourg off limits? I mean, what are you doing attacking Canada, you idiot?
I don't know. Are they going to capitulate on border and tariffs? Then maybe they will be. But the time change thing, it's like, again, it's one of these things. Yes, that's a real irritant. Of all the things we have to worry about, I saw some idiot, I'm sorry, human being on one of these cable outlets. Oh no, it wasn't either. It was still a human. It was Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show who said, well, who are we to change the clocks? Man, we invented clocks as humans. It's like, what?
I will say this, and by the way, Canada, I don't think Canada wants to get involved in this. I think there's a fine. You want to tariff us? Fine, we'll be fine without you. And when American
price to pay.
Well, it's
if you're Canada.
When I tell you what, the American businesses that need the Canadian market, there's a lot in Minnesota that, snowmobile, stuff like that, it's all of a sudden that's a pretty big problem. The 1 minute left about the Department of Education. Will that still exist in 2 years?
Only as a way to funnel money to states. They're not going to be able to disband it without Congress, and Congress can't get out of its own way. But they're going to find ways to simply make it a conduit and let states run things by themselves. That's going to happen without congressional intervention. If Congress could all get together, and I'm talking about the Republican majority, then they would disband it as a government agency.
Well, I don't think that. I still think there's 30 to 40 Republicans that do not want to do that because the amount of the college loans itself, that the low interest college loans that go in there. And just really quick here, do you think the daylight savings time, will it still exist in 2 years?
Yeah, because they can't decide to switch to what.
All right, exactly. All right, good. Yeah. They don't know what they're doing, but hey, that's Trump. I got more of these to touch on when we come on back. Jeff Stein's joining us for his usual Wednesday visit, 952-946-6205. It is the Matt McNeil Show on a Wednesday.
But I might let you try it out the Hennessy. Make them sing to this thing like a...
Get ready to laugh out loud with Matt Matthews at the State Theater January 23rd. Hailing from Alabama, Matt is a stand-up comedian and social media sensation. He skyrocketed to fame during the pandemic with hilariously raw posts and videos. And now he's back on the road with his all-new show, Bougie on a Budget. Matt's comedy dives into his experiences as a gay man from the South, life on a farm, relationships, and more. Don't miss Matt Matthews at the State Theater in Minneapolis on January 23rd. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Thanks to everyone who's continued to support AM 950. Good news, the AM 950 2025 calendar is here, featuring photos I took around Minnesota and important progressive dates. Members that sign up for a one-time $30 membership will receive a 2025 AM 950 calendar as a thank you gift. Make a one-time $100 donation. You'll get the AM 950 calendar and a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book as a thank you. Go to am950radio.com for the details on the membership. That's am950radio.com. Thank you so much for supporting AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, weekdays at 5 p.m. On our show, you'll hear about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. Weekly correspondents like Dr. Stately, State Senator Mary Kunesh, Robert Lilligren, and Bob Blake update us with the latest news from Turtle Island. Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Listen weekdays at 5 p.m. or watch the show on Native Roots Radio social media accounts. Ho-wah!
Get ready to bake with I Am Betty. The smash hit musical returns to the History Theater now through December 29th. Explore 100 years of women's history through Betty Crocker. While she wasn't a real person, Betty Crocker was a media personality and cultural icon who shaped homes and kitchens for generations. Don't miss last season's runaway hit with catchy songs and heartwarming stories. So grab your big red cookbook and head to the History Theater. Tickets at historytheater.com.
Spring and summer is the right time to install your fireplace. Find your perfect fireplace and have it installed and ready before the cold weather hits again. If you already have a wood fireplace, consider a fireplace insert or check out the entire selection at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces on East Franklin and Riverside in Minneapolis. It will transform your inefficient fireplace into a reliable, environmentally smart heating system.
This is Peter Solak, owner of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Have you ever watched your dog or cat curl up in front of a fire? It's primordial, the way it touches both the animal and the human. We know that fire reaches deep into the heart and soul. Let us show you how. We have over 35 working units on display here in Minneapolis. We are located at the east end of Riverside Avenue at 2901 East Franklin. From I-94, take the Riverside Avenue exit. Find us also online at woodlandstoves.com. Let us help you make a fireplace part of your life.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Broadcasting in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, in the nighttime hours, 11:50 a.m., KKNW in Seattle, and of course in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Jeff Stein, kind enough to join us right now. Yes,
Can I ask a question to pick up? We were talking about daylight saving time. Absent any change, are the days of the week, like on a calendar, are they the same in Chicago and Seattle as they are in the Twin Cities?
Yeah, generally.
So basically, if I was looking for a calendar, I could get one from somebody in the Twin Cities, and it would work just fine in Seattle or Chicago, right?
Stop begging, Stein. I'll send you one.
I'm trying to pimp you here. I'm trying to help a brother out.
In case you didn't know, AM 950, we got the brand new 2025 calendar that's out. This is a thank you gift for people that help support the station. Go to am950radio.com, am950radio.com to find out how you can do that. The mothership here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, as well as also as a thank you getting the calendar. And it's pretty this year, Jeff. There you go.
It's always pretty, and you take all the photos, and rarely are you in the photo, so it's safe for children.
No, we do have that calendar app, but you got to find it on OnlyFans. So there you go. All righty. All right. So the one. All right.
Great. See, you leave X, and now there are subscriptions you could have cleaned up.
We're doing a little. Well, are they really serious about this? In regards to the Trump administration with Jeff today, in regards to his thoughts, here's one that I did not see coming. The FDIC. The agency that basically insures our banks. If we bring up It's a Wonderful Life, you remember that scene in there where they're the run on the banks.
Yes.
And the reason why we stopped having runs on banks is because we created the FDIC, in part because we did not think that was really good for an economy. And for some reason, Donald Trump thinks that this is a bad thing and he wants to get rid of it. Will the FDIC still exist in 2 years?
Yes.
Yes.
Real simple, because again, how many people watch their bank account? I mean, I don't have this issue, but you're making big, 3-station broadcast money. You're probably looking and going, okay, now I want to make sure this account doesn't run ahead of the FDIC insured level, and so that's why you have 15 bank accounts. There's no laundering. It's just, for the FDIC purposes. No, the public is going to look at that. No matter if he stands at a chalkboard and explains why you need to get rid of it,
hello, class.
There's an image right there. But the public's going to say, wait, You want to take away the insurance on my bank account? No. I mean, that's a non-starter.
I mean, I still think 20 senators would go along with him, but I don't think the other 30 will want anything to do with that. I think
20 will follow him into the men's room at Bedminster. I mean, yeah, fine. You can always get 20.
There does seem to be this sudden urgency, particularly from the ag sector. I was reading about the Dairymen's Association, amongst other ones, who all of a sudden are like, wait a second here. The ugly little secret's out. Most of our workers are undocumented workers. I don't know if he's going to go door to door, go raid churches, if he's going to do this. I mean, people are saying he's going to. I don't know what the case, but considering the kind of the growing blowback you're seeing from the ag sector, whether that's the farm industry, the processing facilities, the dairy sector, I'm not sure. Are we sure that that's eventually going to go through? Because once again, I think there's a lot of Republicans who are out in these areas who are like, you can go into Chicago or San Francisco. Do you really need to bother us? But at the same time, it's interesting the amount of reports that are coming out that if they start raids, even in like a Chicago or San Francisco, how it's going to dramatically affect rural America, because a lot of people will just leave because they just don't want to take the chance. So will there be the deportations? Will that happen, or will the ag sector talk them out of it?
No, there will be the deportations. And we have experience here in Iowa and many other rural states where you can point to certain places that were raided. I mean, Postville, Iowa, well known as, they rounded them up and they took them to a fairgrounds and processed them. If the people who voted for this are thinking, okay, bad people, hoodlums, gang figures, ne'er-do-wells, sure, get those criminals off the street. The problem is those are the people who know how to hide, if in fact they're good at what they do. The fear, in my mind, is instead of going after trouble, you're going to look for trouble. Like, for example, we didn't meet our quota of rounding up people, so let's go to a dairy farm because that ought to get us a quick dozen or whatever. Okay, so yes, they're going to start it. The question is, how do they go about it? And I'm afraid it's going to be one of these, this is not moving fast enough in terms of numbers, and it's going to then upset literally the apple cart.
Well, here's the thing: is you talk about they're hiding. They're not hiding. It's clearly they're not hiding. I mean, if 65% of the dairy workforce is undocumented workers, they're just there. And it's like I said, it's.
I didn't mean them. I meant the criminal, the bad guy criminal gang element. They're the ones who will go into hiding. In other words, most citizens would say, get those people and get them out of here, hypothetically, right? And they're not the ones who are going to get apprehended.
Statistically, undocumented, documented people coming into the country, the criminal rate with them is much lower than the criminal rate of of American citizens. So you have that little issue too. But I think if you're going to spend the money he's talking about building, camps, and he's going to basically give carte blanche to the ICE guys to basically kick in the mayor's door of any city and basically put him under arrest because you want to. If they're going to do this, they're going to have something more than 20 people in Chicago. This is something that is going to have to be a larger scale. And I think that, it's going to be interesting because once again, I still think in 2 years, there's going to be a big swing back. And I think a lot of that is post office, immigration. Rural America is about to dramatically change, and it's not going to be for the better.
They're going to try it because they ran on it. So that's the question. Will they try it? Absolutely. Will it not meet the expectations of voters? Also true. For a whole host of reasons. Yes, the ag sector. Yes, sanctuary cities. Yes, that it's going to cost too much. The family issues. All of these are great talking points. Implementation, my friend, that's the trick.
Well, and I'll say this, one last thing, speaking of the ag sector, thank you, Joe Biden, for expanding the use of biofuels to year-round. That just came out. I saw that today. So
that's in the reconciliation bill.
That's there you go, Joe Biden taking care of it. Jeff Stein, thank you very much. We'll post the Iowa Politics Report a little bit later on. Chicago, Seattle, talk to you tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul. Hour 2 up next.
Hi, this is Ken Hageland, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, inviting you to listen to our live call-in talk show airing every Saturday from noon to 1, where we talk about your health and your life and provide insights you need to know to live and age well. Each week, we talk with guests who provide answers to important questions regarding healthcare, elder care, end-of-life care, and self-care for caregivers, and help you and your loved ones plan for the future and enjoy your highest quality of life today. Please join us every Saturday from noon to 1 on AM 950 for Living Healthy and Aging Well.
Hi, this is Laura. Listen to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. or anytime via podcast. Our individual health is connected to the health of each other and connected to the health of the earth. We know the problems with the dominant food system: climate change, deadening soils, nitrates in the water, factory farming, injustice, concentration of wealth. How do we both as individuals and as a community step up and support a living food system which honors the earth? Tune to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. and remember to support your independent farmers.
I'm standing up for the middle class. Tom Hartman here on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. It all happened very quickly on Wall Street. The market started the day with gains, but ended with big losses. The Dow lost more than 1,100 points. The reason? Worries about lingering inflation after the Federal Reserve again cut its key interest rate. The AP's Sagar Magani has the story.
But signals fewer reductions next year than previously predicted. In September, the central bank predicted 4 more cuts next year. Now, just 2.
The slower pace of cuts for next year really reflects both the higher inflation readings we've had this year and the expectation inflation will be higher.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell says central bankers believe they're closer to the neutral rate, one that neither spurs nor slows the economy, which would let them be more cautious about future cuts. At the same time, core inflation remains persistently above the Fed's 2% target. So why cut at all next year? Powell says the Fed projects the number coming down to 2.5%.
That'd be significant progress.
But the slower pace of cuts would mean consumers may not enjoy much lower rates next year for things like mortgages and auto loans. Sagar Magani, Washington.
President-elect Donald Trump is demanding Republicans renegotiate a spending bill days before a potential government shutdown, urging a showdown with Democrats. President-elect Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is expected to face his first public questioning from senators January 14th. Some senators have questioned Hegseth's fitness for the role. The federal judge who presided over the seditious conspiracy case against Oath Keepers members say it would be frightening if the group's founder, Stuart Rhodes, is pardoned for orchestrating a violent plot at the Capitol after the 2020 election. This is AP News.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a colonial with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a peaceful neighborhood. And you found it. Now, every Saturday at 6 a.m., you get to wake to the sound of your neighbor's leaf blower. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
Celebrate the magic of the season with last-minute deals at Target. With up to 50% off toys and video games, you'll save so much while you finish your list. Plus, you'll find incredible deals on clothing, beauty, small appliances, floor care, and so much more. And there are even more ways to save when you join Target Circle for free and get exclusive deals automatically. Hurry to save on gifts before last-minute deals are over. Happier holidays from Target. Restrictions apply.
Here's Aiden, Elizabeth, and Corey from Welshire Memory Care with a holiday message.
This holiday season, the Welshire family wants to take a moment to reflect on the incredible journey that we have shared with so many of you. To our current and past families who have entrusted us with the care of a loved one living with Alzheimer's or any other forms of dementia, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lives. We know that this time of year can be bittersweet. It is a season filled with memories, love, and togetherness, but it can also remind us of the challenges that you have faced and the courage it takes to walk this path.
At the Wilshire, we are deeply honored to have been there to support you through those moments, to create a safe, compassionate space where your loved ones live with pride and dignity and where your family could find comfort and hope. This holiday season, we're sending our warmest wishes to you and your families. May you find peace and cherished memories, joy in the present, and hope for the future.
From all of us at the Welshire, happy holidays. You are forever a part of our family.
If your family member or loved one needs a memory care home, visit WellshireMN.com. That's WellshireMN.com.
Hey everyone, this is longtime AM 950 host Ellie Krug. I'm thrilled to announce my brand new show, The Illegal Trans Woman, which takes advocacy for my community, transgender and gender variant people, up several big notches. The Illegal Trans Woman will feature interviews, commentary, and information aimed at pushing back against efforts to oppress trans and gender variant humans. Please tune in on Saturdays at 4 or wherever you go to get your podcasts. And do me a favor, share about the show. Thanks.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 23. Tonight, light snow with a low around 17. And Thursday, some heavier snow with a high around 26. Grab a tray of Cafe Lattes Cafeteria and select from a wide variety of soups and sandwiches. The bakery has fresh baked bread daily, along with cakes and more. And the Pizza and Wine Bar features gourmet pizzas that pair perfectly with their 30-plus wines by the glass. Located off Victoria and Grand, more at cafelatte.com. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Wednesday. Good to have you with us. Guest free this hour, Matt and Patrick here. Patrick, how concerned are you about, I think it's just because we haven't had one in a while, a storm with 3 to 6 inches of snow, which, I mean, is not a lot, but everyone's acting like this is a blizzard coming in.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. And actually, I think the storm track has kind of altered the last couple of days. And I think we're going to probably see less than they originally thought. I think a lot of that is kind of shifted to the north of where the heavier snow will be. But yeah, you're right. I think a lot of people are kind of thinking, it could be like Halloween 1990. I won't go that far, but yeah, you're right. Some people are pretty excited.
Well, I'm excited because, I mean, this state, I mean, I don't like a St. Louis Christmas. And nothing against the fine city of St. Louis, but yeah, I don't like basically everything being dead and brown. I don't. I like having some snow. That's what makes Minneapolis Christmas really nice. Is I do like that element of it. It's a very pretty town when we do have some snow. That all being said, it's you're right. This initially was going to go south of us, and we're going to be on the northern end of it. Now it's going to be north of us. Is going to be the heaviest. We're going to get some snow. And it's going to be cold. And so this is the good news is it does look like we all will have a white Christmas. Although by the end of Christmas week, we're going to be back up in the high 30s, 40s. And so this is going to be starting to melt. But how much we get, I don't know. They're saying 3 to 5 inches in the metro area. It does seem to be, the further north you go, the more chance you're going to be closer to that 5 in the metro than here. Just take your time. I have lived in this city a majority of my life. I love this town. 3 inches of snow. We generally don't call things off for 3 inches of snow. So my guess is by tomorrow morning, people are still going to be going to work, even if the worst of the heaviest of snow comes in. They're saying tomorrow morning is going to be the heaviest snowfall. And by like late morning, it's just going to be light scattered flurries. So that gives us some time to get things cleared up. But hopefully we won't have too many problems and things will be moving fine. If it clears on out, I mean, there's a chance of some snow on Sunday night, Monday, but that's it. And, we do pretty good here. So snow, you're pretty much fine this evening. If you're wondering when's this going to start, I just looked at the time frame. They're saying like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. is when it's going to start. So you're fine for the day. Go out, have some fun, stuff like this. Just anticipate it's going to be a slow commute tomorrow morning. Anticipate the morning tomorrow is going to be pretty much the roughest kind of commute. And yeah, but then we'll clear it. We'll shovel it. We'll take care of it. It's just we haven't done that in a while. So there you go. A good reminder, since I brought up the calendar here, once again, the 2025 calendar is out. We have done it. Once again, photos across Minnesota that I've taken. I am very, very happy to have been, had this happen. I love taking the photos. I love going out there and seeing the city. I just really do. The calendar is out. It's a thank you gift for people that help support AM 950. And if we've had, this is something we started during the pandemic, and we were so grateful that you guys helped keep us on the air. And we are still so very grateful for us because this does help us keep us on the air. So go to am950radio.com, donate, help out AM950. There's all sorts of levels. They'll tell you the levels you need to be at. You get thank you gifts at certain levels, and the calendar is one of the thank you gifts. A signed Tom Hartman book as well is part of the thank you gifts. Find out how you can get both of those and help the station out. I'm glad you guys like the calendar. A lot of them already gone out the door. If you need one, if you got a gift you got a progressive friend, make a donation. You can get a calendar as a thank you gift. You can re-gift that to them. That's one of the things I think is a really good idea as well. And thank you for supporting AM 950. Very, very grateful for that. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Ladies and gentlemen, Trump's America. A threat forced a South Minneapolis mosque to cancel most programming this past weekend, and its leaders working to enhance security measures. This is the As Siddiqui Islamic Center was threatened on social media on the evening of Friday, December 13th, according to Muhammad Ali, the mosque's executive director. Minneapolis Police Department arrived at the mosque that night and alerted them to a threatening post on TikTok. Muhammad said the mosque remained open for prayers, but canceled all other instructional classes and community events for the weekend. The message about the threat went out to hundreds of mosque attendees. There is going to be trauma, Muhammad said Tuesday, adding that this threat makes many Muslims think of the Christchurch massacre in 2019, when a shooter killed 51 worshipers at Friday prayers at 2 mosques in New Zealand. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara met with mosque members on Saturday with extra police patrols deployed in the area. The police told the mosque they believe it was safe to resume normal activities late Sunday. We have people spray painting swastikas on synagogues. We have Muslim worship centers being attacked by, random threats. This is Trump's America. This is why it's hard, is because this is what I knew this was going to be unleashed if Trump won. And for some reason, 120 million people didn't think it was important to basically say to bigotry and racism, no, you're not welcome here. But apparently they're okay with it. This is Trump's America. These are the people that basically pushed as hard as they can to get MAGA there because they wanted to threaten the Jewish people. They wanted to threaten the Muslim people. And this is just what it is. This is the fruition of who they are. And I have no tolerance for it. I hope they catch this jerk at the TikTok station. I hope they find out who did it and, arrest him. It doesn't sound like I've not seen in the news any arrests on the graffiti attack, on the swastika graffiti attack on the synagogue in Minneapolis. If you know who did that, I think it was Bring Me the News had images from the security camera that showed the individual. If you know who the car that is, if you know who that individual is, turn them in and get them arrested. Because the only way we basically will be able to stop this, they're so emboldened, is by basically treating each one of these as what it is, a threat, a terrorist threat, a threat based on religion, and lock them up forever. Can't stand this, but this is what it is. Speaking of religion, let me get into something here, which is I find to be hilarious. We've had lawsuits in this country that have said, well, if you want to put up a Christian display in a government building of any kind, or public building of any kind, that you need to basically make sure you make room for everyone else, that all registered and recognized religions should be able to put a display up as well. And what is funny, because that is America, is that we are not one religion. We are not one religion. There are a lot of people that don't have any religion at all. More power to them. See, I am a Christian, and I talked about this the last hour. My faith is not threatened in any way, shape, or form by any other faith and their display of faith. I have a pretty good relationship with God in my mind. I feel as if my relationship it's very personal, and I feel pretty good with it. So I'm not one of these people that walks past a religious display that's not a Christian religious display and feel like, how dare they? That's called foreshadowing. But I find the whole thing to be somewhat funny because, like I said, the idea is, why is there a problem with a Christmas tree? Christmas is a great holiday season. Why is there a problem? Okay, fine. We'll let every religion post. How dare you let the other religions post their holiday displays? It's that sort of thing. Republicans, you are a hoot. Needless to say, at the state capitol, guess what? A Satan-themed holiday display was created controversy inside the Minnesota State Capitol. It has been restored to its spot on Wednesday after it was apparently knocked over the night before. The display with a mythical phoenix, its wings of yellow and orange paper spread wide as it freshly merged from the ashes, sits near a Christmas tree and a nativity scene just off the dome building's main rotunda. Atop its head is a 5-star sided star inside the circle, a common symbol of Satanism. You are, or of the Rush album band 2112, which was a great album. I love that one. You are your own God, reads the card in front of the Phoenix, which was sponsored by a group that calls itself Minnesota Satanists. On Wednesday morning, the bird and star were gone, replaced by another card. The display is temporarily unavailable, but it was back in its place a few hours later. Osmidius Sion, who in 2017 founded Minnesota Satanists, told the Star Tribune that he was told someone had knocked it over the previous afternoon. We just had to replace it with some feathers and use a little hot glue. That's what he said. Sion said that the Capitol staff told him it was likely knocked down sometime between 4:15 and 4:30. Oh, that's so, you know, so much for the tolerant right. You know, like I said, if you are so threatened by the mere presence of another religion, and if, by the way, it's funny when you say it like that. So you just don't think any other religion should have display. What's the first thing all Republicans and right wingers do? Oh, well, I don't have any problem with the Jewish faith or anything else. I just think some faiths shouldn't be there. Oh, so you think that you should be able to dictate what is and what is not a religion, that you should have that power to dictate which religions are there, which ones are not. You think you should do this. I'm not saying that. You see, they just lash out. And frankly, I think it's kind of the rhetoric of the right has led to people starting to attack this. Once again, I'm a Christian. You want to put up a display, knock yourself out. It doesn't waver my faith, and I don't come from some sort of militaristic Christian faith which tells you I gotta stymie any other religion that's out there. Workers at the Capitol secured the Phoenix before a sign, and others came in Wednesday to repair it. We wanted to have something beautiful up here for everybody, Zion said in the group's motives. We figured it was a cause of conversation, and we're glad it did. Unsurprisingly, the display set off a range of reactions online. Some expressed disgust and confusion, while others hailed it as a celebration of freedom of religion and the separation of church and state. The Zion founded Minnesota Satanists, a group responsible for the display in 2017. We figured we called it a conversation, and we're glad it did. Minnesota is not the first state to display satanic imagery at its capital. Iowa and Illinois have also done so as well, or in public spaces in general. The groups behind the effort are generally non-aesthetic or aesthetic or religious observations who troll religious conservatives and use Satan as a vehicle to promote religious skepticism and satire, civil rights, and the separation of church and state. Yeah, I mean, they're there to basically get, uptight rightos who feel as if there's some sort of fake religious war because I've got to do this. Yeah, they're basically trolling you, and you're courteous enough to oblige them. The Minnesota Satanist is similar, though it recently severed ties with the national group, the Satanic Temple. The Minnesota group, which has legal status as a church, does not worship Satan or believe it's real. Were they to worship anyone, according to the group's website, we would say we worship ourselves and those we care about. We champion the symbol of Lucifer as representing revolt against our arbitrary authority and oppression, advocacy for the pursuit of knowledge and the reason, and the sympathy with the scapegoat and the downtrodden, the website says. All right, once again, you do or don't do whatever it is you do or don't want to do. It doesn't affect me, man. The symbol displayed at the Capitol, which is referred to as an inverted pentagram, did not sit well with some Minnesota elected officials. In a post on Twitter, Paul Gazelka, former member of the Minnesota Senate, called it a huge insult to Christians. In another post, Pete Stauber said it was a disgrace. And Tom Emmer, the majority whip for the U.S. House, asked on the site, is there anything Tim Walz will do to insult Minnesotans? By the way, a representative for Walz's office said the governor does not agree with the display, nor did approve it, but the First Amendment means that he does not police speech in the state capitol. But clearly Tom Emmer and Pete Stauber and Paul Gazelka, clearly they feel as if, and they need to clarify this. Emmer, Stauber, and Gazelka need to clarify whether or not they feel freedom of speech matters to everyone, or if it doesn't, or does freedom of religion matter to everybody, or doesn't it? Or does certain religion have certain rights that other religions don't? And who makes this decision if that's what they think? Because once again, this is in the Constitution. You have freedom of religion. You are the ones, and once again, you guys are the creator of your own mess. You're the ones that are trying to force Christian imagery on everyone else by putting up your Christian displays and saying, well, the majority of people are Christian. Fine, but you still are promoting a Christian narrative. And the courts have said you can't just do that, that you have to represent all faiths and give all faiths the opportunity. So you have a menorah during the holiday seasons for the Jewish faith, or, you have something, in regards for the Muslim, they'll have a display, or the Buddhist, or anyone can have a display. But then you get upset because the Satanists come in and you act as if this is something they've intruded into your life when all they're doing is walking in the door you knuckleheads opened. You guys did this. As much as you're upset, you're responsible for this. And so now all of a sudden you want to rewrite freedom of speech and freedom of religion because it's got to be a Christian faith. And if it doesn't speech I don't like, we're going to kill it. That's Pete Stauber and Paul Gazelka and Tom Emmer, or at least that's the impression I get from their statements. They're the ones that need to clarify. Dudes, I'm going to let you know, I'm Christian. And frankly, considering your policies, I'm far more Christian than you guys are. I mean, seriously, man, you guys are way off base on a lot of things. That being said, my faith is not being threatened by this display. As a matter of fact, more power to them. Because that's what makes America great. Not Trump, not, forced religion of one religion uber alles, but accepting of all people. That's what makes us great. And you are the ones who open the door to saying, well, we'll just put a Christmas tree in. Okay, fine. Then everyone else gets in here. It hurts. You're stupid. The easiest way to prevent this, if you don't want this, is basically pass a law that says, no, we're not going to have any religious displays in public buildings. And done. But you guys can't stop yourself because you want to pander to the Christians that you basically, as you continually violate Christian teachings, feeding the hungry, taking care of the sick, welcoming in strangers from strange lands. I know you guys, you have some reading to do. That being all said, you're the ones that did this to yourselves. So can Emmer and Stauber and Gazelka tell us what religions they deem to be acceptable and not acceptable? What religions they feel should not have freedom of speech in this country? What religions should be omitted from the public stage? Because if you're for any of that, you're anti-American. And considering who Jesus was, dude, you're not the best Christian either, because he was welcoming of all people. He was. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You guys need to read that, man. You guys need to read that. I mean, you guys got a long way to go. Anyway, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblat Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblatfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
It's Angela Warner for Warner Sellion. And right now, our stores are jam-packed with yellow tag clearance items. We can't move in next year's models until we get rid of these floor models and closeouts. So many are at or below our cost. You'll definitely get a deal worth bragging about. Beyond yellow tags, our brand new appliances are up to 50% off. And we offer trusted, fast delivery when you need your replacement now. Browse our outlet at warnersellion.com or at your local Warner Sellion appliance showroom.
Slay the holidays with nonstop laughs at Brave New Workshop's all-new comedy spectacular, Big Christmas Energy. Packed with sketches and songs, this hilarious holiday tradition will brighten your spirits during this chaotic season. Enjoy new sketches and perennial favorites, including their unforgettable take on the 12 Days of Christmas. Whether you're stuffing stockings or dodging awkward conversations, Big Christmas Energy will leave you smiling, even with humbug in your heart. Experience Big Christmas Energy at America's oldest comedy theater in Minneapolis, Brave New Workshop. Get tickets at bravenewworkshop.org.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Frankly, I'm going to tie this back into those first two stories. I mean, threats to a mosque or swastikas getting painted on a synagogue or basically Christians demanding a religious display they don't approve of get torn down. You wonder why there is this rising hate in this country. Look in the freaking mirror, dudes. And no, you're not getting bonus points with St. Peter when you get up there by saying, well, I went out there and I stopped another religion from even having a display. No, that's not good. Well, I was only doing what Trump told me to do. No, again, come on, man. You guys. It's Christmas season. I am a person who's Christian. I like Christmas. It makes me angry to see the amount of people threatening other religions under the guise of Christianity. Like that's something that's what Christianity is about. Christianity is about. It's not. No, it's not. And I don't care how much you value Romans over Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It doesn't work. That's Paul, by the way. That's not the story of Jesus. It really angers me to see people constantly using, especially in this day and age. I want you to go into any town, whether it's Minneapolis, go into Hopkins, where I live, or any of the suburbs, and take a look around. For a country that's not supposed to have a favoritism in religion, we have Christian symbols everywhere, man. Everywhere. You go down the street in Main Street in Hopkins, and it's beautiful, and I love it. It's very nice. But there's wreaths on every light pole, and there's Christmas trees in the fire department, and everywhere you go. And there's a Christmas tree in the park, and that's fine. But this idea that there's a war against Christmas, Christmas won this fight Christians won this fight years ago. But it's this constant feeling of anyone else getting any visibility that I disagree with has to be shut down. That's not Christianity, dude. That's authoritarianism. And if you haven't read the Bible, that's not something Jesus was good with, dude. All right. The permit for the holiday display was issued by the Minnesota Department of Administration, which is responsible for such permits at the state capitol and grounds. The spokesperson said she had the permit for the First Amendment protected speech event does not imply an endorsement by the state. There you go. But it sure makes the Republicans freak out. David is in San Francisco, California. He's kind enough to join us. Hey, David.
Oh, hey, Matt. Hope you're about to have some happy solstice. I think is that Saturday?
The solstice is Saturday. Yeah, I believe it is Saturday, the 21st.
Yeah, if I understand right, the oldest holiday known to man is Yalda, and that's when the cavemen figured out the days were, the nights were getting longer and longer, and finally, when that cusp happens, that's Yalda, and so that's the oldest holiday known to man. So not only am I going to get real radical on you by wishing you happy holidays, I'm going to wish you happy Yalda.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, David.
Yeah, the thing that I've always been inspired about, one of the founding fathers was Thomas Paine. And Paine was the one that came up with all of the catchphrases that helped win the Revolutionary War. And he wrote a later book called Age of Reason. And in it, he's ranting about exactly what you're talking about, the fake religions that were basically picking on each other, for their gain of the tithing generally. If somebody was one church was getting too many tithes, then the other churches would get jealous. But when they got inculcated into government, the faith, when it came time to spending the tax dollars, an honest taxpayer wants to make sure there's receipts. But when the religion sticks its nose into the action, they basically are riding on faith, and faith doesn't usually have receipts. So the taxpayers get bugged when their taxes are spent on projects that don't have any logic or are seen as an insult to the entire community.
Well, and David, I'm going to step on in here because you're going. I got other things I got to get to here today. I appreciate the phone call. I appreciate the history lesson on Paine. What I'll say about this, if you want to go back to that time and age, when Washington got to New York City after Bunker Hill, and he got down there, he specifically sought out the other religions in this country, not the Christian ones, the other ones, because he knew that they were building a country that involved more than just one or two religions. And reminder, many of these people, as these people kind of revisit this idea of the first white people that got to this country, who, by the way, once again, as Christians, were pretty brutal on the Native Americans. Let's not forget that little part. They skipped over those teachings in the Bible. But they themselves had come from Europe, where they were being persecuted because their version of Christianity was wrong. The accepting of other people's religion was the idealism that was founded on. It's failed a lot of times. It's failed repeatedly a lot of times. But I'm tired of this crap. I'm tired of people who act as if I'm more Jesus-y because I hate the Satan statue. Well, how about feeding some hungry people? Stop trying to force me to follow the religion I say I embody. That sort of thing. I have zero tolerance for it. You guys just, be happy with who you are. Stop trying to force your will onto other people. If anyone wants to do something different, knock themselves out. It doesn't quiver my faith. It doesn't shake me as an individual. It just shows me how weak you guys really are. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Take a break. Come on back. Other things to get to. It's the Matt McNeil Show on your Wednesday.
I don't know. Every time you turn around.
Hey there, Twin Cities. This is Andy Otto, your host for Twin Cities Pride Amplified. Join me as we dive into everything LGBTQIA+, From rights to culture, health, and events, we cover it all. Pride isn't just a June thing, it's year-round, and so is our show. Whether you're a part of the queer family or an ally, this is your space. Tune in to Twin Cities Pride Amplified every Saturday at 3 p.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Holiday shopping is easy with the Park Tavern. From now until December 31st, stop into the Park Tavern and buy a $100 gift card. You'll receive a $25 Park Tavern gift card for free. You heard that right. Buy a $100 Park Tavern gift card, you'll receive a $25 gift card for free. The best part is you get to decide which gift card you keep and which gift card you gift. The Park Tavern is open regular hours throughout the holiday season, offering great food and family fun. On Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park, the holidays are just better with the Park Tavern.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Hi everyone, Matt McNeil here. 4 years ago, we came out with the first AM 950 calendar. Now get ready for the 5th edition. It's the 2025 AM 950 calendar, featuring photos I've taken across Minnesota, plus important dates in both progressive and AM 950 history. All new and current sustaining members who make a recurring donation of $10 will receive an AM 950 2025 calendar as a thank you. If you make a monthly recurring contribution of $25 or more, you'll receive a thank you of both the AM 950 calendar and a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book. Make a one-time $30 donation, you'll get a calendar as a thank you, or make a one-time $100 donation, you'll receive both the AM 950 calendar and a signed Tom Hartman book as a thank you. It's really simple to become a member of AM 950. Go to our webpage, am950radio.com. Click on the membership button and sign up. The website has all the details on the different levels, the 2025 calendar, and Tom's book. Thank you to everyone who, over the last 5 years, has continued to help support AM 950, one of the last true progressive radio stations in the country. Thanks for keeping AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, on the air.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 23. Tonight, light snow with a low around 17. And Thursday, some heavier snow with a high around 26. Thanks for supporting AM 950. To show our appreciation, we're offering the 2025 AM 950 calendar with Matt McNeil's photos and progressive history. Donate $10 monthly or $30 one time to get it, or include Tom Hartman's signed book with $25 monthly or $100 one time. Learn more at am950radio.com.
In constant sorrow. AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the Matt McNeil Show. Hey, reminder, the brand new to you shows are coming up here. As a matter of fact, we are got one left to record. That's Patty Vasquez. Of course, you can hear her here on weeknights on AM 950. Love her. Love her. Of course, down in Chicago. We are going to record that interview, and then we've got basically almost 2 weeks of full brand new to you shows waiting for you for the holidays. It's our gift to you every year. Brand new content every year that you'll be able to enjoy. We started on Monday. I know it's Monday. Monday is Aaron Rupar, the Canadian comedian Brittle Star, and then a full hour with Larry Millette. Yes, that is on Monday. All those interviews ready to go. Brand new to you content starts on Monday right here on AM 950. 952-946-6205. So I posted this story earlier. I've talked about this. People today, I think the entire concept of the anti-vax movement is built on the success of how vaccinations have wiped out many of the diseases you used to claim people left and right. This is something that affected my own family. The story of my great-grandfather, Charles B. Lenant, who ran the Charles B. Lenant Clinic up in Virginia, Minnesota for many, many years. Charles B. Lenant had kids, and he had a son also named Charles, who died at a very young age of scarlet fever. And as a man of medicine, it completely and totally haunted him that he was not able to save his son. That was what things used to be at. Society used to be far more morbid than it was because death was everywhere. Death was everywhere. All you need to do, and it's something that I've talked about, and it's something the story from the reformer, Minnesota reformer, got into, is that if you take any time and you go back to cemeteries from, say, the 1860s, 1870s, 1880s, and there's some around the Twin Cities, tons out on the west or the East Coast, some of you on the West Coast, but mainly on the East Coast. And you go into these plots, these cemetery plots that are out there, it is stark to see over and over again, mom, dad, and 4 kids who didn't make it past 6 years old. You know, it just something that was just something that happened. Kids just died at a far larger rate. Vaccinations stopped a lot of that. And the success of our vaccination programs are what leads to, you know, when I see an anti-vaxxer, I see somebody who's so damn stupid that they don't understand history. They don't understand the complexities of all this. I do see some people who, because they are experiencing a loved one with autism, want desperately to find some kind of smoking gun that points to something that caused it to be. I don't know if they want to sue them or what, but we've already spent millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to show that vaccinations do not cause autism. But the reality is you have to ignore what vaccines have done, create fake villainy to basically to turn it into the problem. And so this is why I think a lot of people ignore the truth. The Reformer, once again, Minnesota Reformer, the best news outlet we have in this state right now, hands down. They basically talk the truth. Modern medicine has enabled citizens of wealthy industrialized nations to forget that children once routinely died in shocking numbers. Teaching 19th century English literature, I regularly encountered gutting descriptions of losing a child, and I'm reminded that not knowing the emotional cost of widespread child mortality is a luxury, a modern day luxury. In the first half of the 19th century, from some 1800 to 1850, between 40 and 50% of children in the U.S. did not live past the age of 5. I want to repeat that. 40 to 50% of children in the United States did not live past the age of 5. And by the way, if you look at the story, there are footnotes involved with it. Overall child mortality was somewhat lower than in the UK. The rate remained near 50% through the early 20th century for children living in the poorest slums. So in the early 1900s, basically 100 years ago, the child mortality rate in poor communities was 50%. Half the kids died. Our modern success is what's created this ignorance. It is just unbelievable that people are thinking we'd be better off going back to those times. Threats from disease were extensive. Tuberculosis killed an estimated 1 in 7 people in the U.S. and Europe, and it was the leading cause of death in the U.S. in the early decades of the 19th century. Smallpox killed 80% of the children it infected. Smallpox killed 80% of the kids that infected. Basically, if there were 5 kids and they all got smallpox, one of them was going to live. One, if you were lucky. The high fatality rate of diphtheria and the apparent randomness of its onset caused panic in the press when the disease emerged in the UK in the late 1850s. Multiple technologies now prevent epidemic spread of these and other once common childhood illnesses, including polio, tetanus, whooping cough, measles, scarlet fever, and cholera. Closed sewers protect drinking water from fecal contamination. Pasteurization kills tuberculosis, diphtheria, typhoid, and other diseases causing organisms in milk. Federal regulations stopped purveyors from adulterating foods with the chalk, lead, alum, plaster, and even arsenic once used to improve the color, texture, and density of inferior products. Yeah, they used to do that. Vaccines create. By the way, it's stuff like that that makes me realize, this whole thing with MAGA. This has always been there. We're going to put lead and alum in stuff to make it look more appetizing, even though we know it's going to kill people. Ugh. Vaccines created herd immunity. Vaccines created herd immunity. Not going out and licking everybody. Vaccines did. OnlyFans. Vaccines are the reason why we have herd immunity. Not this stupid, well, just if everybody gets sick, then there's not going to be a problem. Stupid. Vaccines created herd immunity to slow disease spread, and antibiotics offers cures to many bacterial illnesses. As a result of these sanitary, regulatory, and medical advances, child mortality rates have set below 1% in the US and UK since the 1930s. I want to make sure you understand why this whole thing with RFK Jr. and Trump is so insane. In the early 19th century, in the early 20th century, in the early 1900s, a little more than 100 years ago, the mortality rate of children in poorer communities was 50%. Half the kids died a little more than 100 years ago. By 90 years ago, we got those numbers down to 1%. 1. Victorian novels chronicle the terrible grief of losing children, depicting the cruelty of diseases largely unfamiliar today. They also warn against being lulled into thinking that a child deaths can never be inevitable again. Novels tapped into communal fears as they mourned fictional children. Little Nell, the angelic figure at the center of Charles Dickens's wildly popular and old curiosity shop, fades away from the unnamed illness over the last few installments of the serialized novel. When the ship carrying the printed pages of the final part of the story pulled up to New York, people apparently shouted from the docks asking if she had survived. The public investment in the grief over her death reflects a shared experience of helplessness. No amount of love can save a child's life. 11-year-old Anne Shirley of Green Gables fame became a hero for pulling 3-year-old Minnie May through dramatic battle with diphtheria. Readers knew this as horrendous illness in which membranes block the throat so effectively the child will gasp to death. Children were familiar with disease. And once again, what she's explaining is these were just the reason why these books and these characters resonated was because these were experiences everyone had. Think about that. Think about you got a sick kid and you worry about them. You're not hearing your child gasp to death because of diphtheria, because of vaccination. And it shouldn't take a bunch of freaking idiots using your kids as a petri dish to get us to the point, well, maybe the vaccines were a good idea. Of course, they'll never admit they were wrong, even though we're going to start seeing more kids die. They won't. They'll insist, we proved our point. Yeah, proved you can kill a lot of other people's kids. Children were familiar with disease risks. Well, typhus ran rampant in Janeiro, killing nearly half the girls at the charity school. 13-year-old Helen Burns is struggling against tuberculosis. 10-year-old Jane is filled with horror at the possible loss of the only person who has ever truly cared for her. The entire chapter deals frankly and emotionally with all of this dying. Jane cannot bear separation from quarantine Helen and seeks her out one night filled with the dread of seeing a corpse. In the chill of the Victorian bedroom, she slips under Helen's blankets and tries to stifle her own sobs as Helen is overtaken with coughing. A teacher discovers them the next morning, my face against Helen's burned shoulder, my arms around her neck. I was asleep and Helen was dead. The disconcerting image of a child nestled asleep against another child's corpse may seem unrealistic, but it was very like the mid-19th century memento photographs taken of deceased children surrounded by their living siblings. The specter of death, such scenes remind us, lay on the center of the Victorian childhood. That was the world pre-vaccine. My kids are vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. When I walked in the military, they gave me so many damn shots, it was hard to believe. I have no problem with it. You see, I'm not so damn insecure with myself that I have to try to create ways to feel superior to others by questioning medical professionals and scientists who have spent their lives researching this? In the same sense as I don't go on out there and tell an architect, your building sucks, I could do a better job. Cool. And you know why? Because they're an architect and they know what they're doing. I don't say this of plumbers. I don't say this of firefighters. I don't say this of anybody. But for some godforsaken reason, some idiot fools with too much time on their hands decided to question vaccines, even though the insane, overwhelming amount of evidence is that these things have saved us an amazing amount of life. Not by theory, but by actual practical science that has shown us the vaccines are a good thing. From the stories that we used to read, where we all could relate to characters because loved ones were constantly dying of diseases we don't even know a person who has had in most of our lives. But the idea that RFK Jr. and Trump and the rest of these idiots try to put out there is, that's what they're trying to tell you, but you would be so much better off without them. The truth is that one of the greatest scientific advances we've ever made is the treatment of diseases through vaccinations. The stopping of a child mortality rate of 50%, getting it down to 1%. Anti-vaxxers are a product of our modern success. They're too stupid to realize how successful we've been, and they're constantly looking for villains and conspiracy theories, and yet here we are. We have the evidence, and just in the books that we've read, that they work. Yet we're about to go through a little bit of a science project right now, which, of course, once again, when kids start dropping left and right and child mortality starts skyrocketing back up, they'll insist, well, it wasn't us, but everyone should get vaccinated. Jeff is in Cambridge. Let's get him in really quick before the break. Welcome in, Jeff.
Yeah, Tom Hardman had a guest on, and she was honest about it. She said we should call the anti-vax people child killers.
When you read the history of this, Jeff, wouldn't you agree? I mean, it's not the reach that these guys like, oh, how dare you? Well, have you seen what you guys are fighting for goodness sakes?
Well, no, they can't remember history, and their history is tainted by whatever Trump tells them.
Word. Jeff, thank you very much. Appreciate the phone call. Have a nice holiday. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Let's take a break. Come on back. I got a message to some Blue Dog Democrats when I do return. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Get ready to laugh out loud with Matt Matthews at the State Theater January 23rd. Hailing from Alabama, Matt is a stand-up comedian and social media sensation. He skyrocketed to fame during the pandemic with hilariously raw posts and videos. And now he's back on the road with his all-new show, Bougie on a Budget. Matt's comedy dives into his experiences as a gay man from the South, life on a farm, relationships, and more. Don't miss Matt Matthews at the State Theater in Minneapolis on January 23rd. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
It's Angela Warner for Warner Sellion. And right now, our stores are jam-packed with yellow tag clearance items. We can't move in next year's models until we get rid of these floor models and closeouts. So many are at or below our cost. You'll definitely get a deal worth bragging about. Beyond yellow tags, our brand new appliances are up to 50% off. And we offer trusted, fast delivery when you need your replacement now. Browse our outlet at WarnerSellion.com or at your local Warner Sellion appliance showroom.
Hi, this is Paul Metza, host of the Wall of Power Radio Hour. We have been on the air on AM 950 for 10 years. We feature cool people from all walks of life in all 50 states. We've had musicians, politicians, actors, poets, people with great stories or a tale to tell. Tune in every Saturday night at 6 p.m. on AM 950, and podcasts are available on all streaming services.
It's been a while since I explained this, but a Toyota from Rudy Luther Toyota will always be in my driveway. 2 years ago, a drunk driver slammed into my Toyota Sienna. In most vehicles, I wouldn't be here today, but my Toyota Sienna kept me safe. It was designed for safety, something I saw firsthand. I have no problem telling you, if you want a vehicle that will keep you and your family safe on the road, Toyota is the way to go. I'm partial to the Sienna, but all their vehicles are fantastic. Be safe, own a Toyota. Shop today at rudyluthertoyota.com or visit Rudy Luther Toyota on the corner of 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Baby, it's hard inside. You're running across my mind.
AM
I was
950
twisted, I was over
Minnesota.
it. Saying I never believed in love.
Indeed. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. So I want to take some time because who was it? It was MinPost had the story of the newly formed Blue Dog Coalition. The 8 Senate members are DFLers from the Twin City suburbs and from regional population centers near Mankato, Moorhead, Duluth, and St. Cloud. 4 of the 8 Blue Dog members were among the 5 senators credited with securing the DFL majority in 2022 election, all won in districts that were considered battlegrounds. One DFL district had been trending towards the GOP. That was in Moorhead. One a district formed in redistricting, a combination of GOP and DFL areas. That's Seaburger in Afton. One to replace longtime DFL senator who had become an independent, House child in Hermantown, and one who retained a seat that had been held by a Republican just 2 years previously, Eric Putnam in St. Cloud. The only other, the so-called DFL majority maker from the 2022 did not in the Blue Dog Caucus is Senator Heather Gustafson from Vadnais Heights, who beat out a Republican incumbent and forged her own reputation as a moderate the first 2 years. The other Blue Dog members are Nick Frentz, also Matt Klein of Mendota Heights, Ann Rest of New Hope, and John Hoffman of Champlin. These are hardly backbenchers in the Senate. Frentz is the chair of the Energy Utilities and Environmental Committee. Klein is the chair of the Commerce. Putnam is chair of the Agriculture Committee. Hoffman is chair of Human Services. And Rest is the Taxes Committee chair. We seek to bridge divides and bring bipartisan solutions that serve all Minnesotans, regardless of political affiliation, the group's mission statement says. Now, all right, fine. So, Blue Dog. These are people who are basically starting to signal, we'll work with the other side. I'm reminded of that one year when Dayton was there, when Tom Bach and Terry Bonhoeff sided with the Republicans. Because I guarantee you, these clowns, they're about to get calls. Hey, guys, man, I'm this soft, moderate Republican. Can't believe. Do you see what those liberal senators from Minneapolis are trying to force on you? You know what? You work with us. We'll make them do what you want to do. Yeah, I've seen this before. I've seen this little game before. And yeah, the Republicans are very good at convincing you guys to abandon your own party. And maybe you want to. I don't know. I would say this. We just saw the Democrats come crashing to the ground, not because they weren't moderate enough. For God's sakes, once again, Harris was campaigning with Liz Cheney, for goodness sakes. No. The reason why the Democrats did not win is you abandon your own platform for a few people to sit there and say, I really hate the Democratic Party. I'm a Democrat that hates them. Angie Krang. So I want to look at this group and say this. You want to be moderate, that's fine. I have no problem. Tim Walz is a moderate. Tim Walz is one of the great moderate Democrats I've ever met, because not only is he moderate, but he's still a proud Democrat, and he remembers that. And you want to embody that, I wholeheartedly encourage that. But if this is just you guys trying to say, we're going to do what we want to do, we're going to force the governor's hand. I want to, because I remember when Bach and Tomassoni, they double-crossed the Democrats and ran and took DFL money and took DFL contributions and took DFL volunteers and then immediately jumped over to Gazelka's side. I remember that. I want to make sure of something very clear. I am not going to forget that. If you Blue Dogs torpedo the DFL, I will do everything in my power to primary your asses out of that Senate so you don't even see your election. I want you to hear that, because you might want to say, well, he's threatening me. No, I'm just saying I'm a Democrat, and I'm proud to be a Democrat. And if I see you working with the Republicans at the expense of the Democrats, you're not a Democrat. And I will do everything in my power to make sure you're primaried out of your seat. And I don't care if that's a loss, but I'd rather have that be a loss than have somebody who constantly is tripping up the rest of the party for their own personal agenda. I don't want Baca back. I don't want Tomasoni back. I don't want Terry Bonhoeff back. I want Democrats who are proud Democrats. And you can be a moderate Democrat that's a proud Democrat. You can be a progressive Democrat and a proud Democrat, but you're still a proud Democrat. So I'm just putting you on notice. I now know who you guys are, and I'm paying attention. And if you torpedo Tim Walz and the Democrats this next 2 years, there's going to be some hell to pay. Just Merry Christmas. How about I say it that way? Native Roots is up next. Have a good one. We're back tomorrow. Until then, see ya.
Hey, it's Patrick. Is your home ready for the